Shut your eyes for a single moment and draw in a breath, not the kind that fills your lungs, but the kind that flows from the truth already living inside you. You aren't standing around waiting for your breakthrough. You're the very source of it. And right now, something within you has already started to stir. You didn't stumble onto this message by chance. You found it because the seed was planted long before this moment. You aren't here to chase after change. You're here because that change has already taken place inside you. There's a moment, quiet, almost imperceptible, when the world begins tilting in your direction. And if these words have reached you right now, this is that very moment. The breakthrough isn't approaching, it's already arrived. Look around. Perhaps nothing on the surface has shifted, yet something inside you feels unmistakably different. There's an invisible click, a certainty that refuses to be talked out of existence. That feeling right there is the sign. Without even realizing it, you've already stepped into the new state. You've brushed up against the feeling of the wish already granted, even if only briefly. And now the world has no option but to echo back what you've dared to claim within. Don't hunt for proof with your eyes. Trust the certainty living in your spirit instead. The world functions as a delayed mirror. It only ever reflects what you've previously accepted as true. But now that you've seen this, now that you've felt it, your new assumption is already in motion. The tide has already turned. Your awareness is everything. It doesn't merely observe, it creates. And the simple fact that you're reading these words right now means the creation is already complete. The outer form may still be taking shape, but the substance is finished. You're already crossing the bridge of incidents, each step guided by the invisible hand of your own inner certainty. You don't have to force it into being. You don't even need to try. You already are the version of you who possesses it. That desire was never sent to torment you. It was implanted as a kind of prophecy, a glimpse of what already exists in the unseen realm. And so the instant you spot the sign, whether it's a phrase repeating itself, a strange coincidence, or this very message, understand, it isn't a promise, it's a confirmation. You've crossed the threshold. You've stepped into the new state. You've pushed the door open. And the breakthrough is walking toward you right now. All that's left is to stay faithful to the feeling. Don't retreat into the old story. Remain in the certainty. Live from the end. Act not like someone still waiting, but like someone who has already received. You've stopped hoping. Now you're remembering. The moment has arrived. The breakthrough belongs to you. And if you're reading this, some part of you already knows it. Everything you experience mirrors your inner state. The instant your awareness shifts, your world begins rearranging itself. What you call reality isn't something happening outside of you. It isn't fixed, isn't rigid, isn't separate from you at all. It's fluid, malleable, and completely responsive to the one observing it, you. Everything starts and ends within your consciousness. You're not merely a participant wandering through this world, you're the one projecting it. Your thoughts, your assumptions, your inner dialogue, these are the blueprints from which everything around you gets constructed. Life doesn't happen to you, it unfolds outward from you. There's no power operating outside your own awareness. What you label coincidence, fate, or bad luck aren't independent forces at all. They're shadows cast by the light of your inner world. Every person and every event crossing your path is simply playing a role in the story your own consciousness has authored. Believe the world is cruel, and you'll encounter cruelty in every direction. Believe success is difficult, and difficulty will present itself as undeniable fact. But shift your consciousness toward believing life is on your side, that abundance comes naturally, that you're favored, and suddenly the evidence begins to line up in support. Why does this happen? Because consciousness is the only reality that exists. Not what your eyes see, not what your hands touch, not what other people tell you. Your inner state is what gives shape to everything external. This isn't philosophical speculation, it's law, and the moment you grasp it, you're holding the key to your own freedom. Understand this clearly. Your world doesn't transform because you strain to force it. It transforms because you transform. The world has no choice but to rearrange itself, according to whatever arrangement exists within your own assumptions. It's mechanical, predictable, unavoidable. Wake up tomorrow morning assuming success, peace, and worthiness, not as wishful thinking, but as a living inner reality, and the day ahead must mirror it back to you. It may not show up how you expected, it may not arrive on your ego's demanded timeline, but it will arrive. And it will arrive precisely, beautifully, inevitably. Perhaps you're thinking, but I've believed before, and nothing happened. Not quite. You hoped, you wished, but you didn't remain loyal to that inner state long enough for the outer world to catch up. Reality always trails behind assumption. The world in front of you today isn't a reflection of what you believe right now. It's the echo of who you used to be. So what's actually required of you? Nothing external. All the work happens inside. Start now by revising your self-image. Dare to picture yourself already in possession of your desire, not straining toward it, not reaching for it, not doubting it, simply being it. Feel it as fully real. Step into the state of the wish fulfilled and remain there in imagination, in feeling, in identity, and keep at it. You don't need to plead for something already yours in the unseen realm. You only need to wake up to it. There's no one else to transform besides yourself. There's nothing broken out there to fix, because out there is simply a mirror, and a mirror never changes first. You do. Let the world remain whatever it currently is for now. It doesn't matter. You're not trying to alter the reflection, you're transforming the face casting it. And as you do this, something remarkable will catch your attention. What once appeared immovable starts to dissolve. People shift, circumstances change, paths that seemed sealed open up. You'll come to realize the world was never actually blocking you. Your own awareness of it was the obstacle all along. Shift your consciousness, and the world is compelled to follow suit. This is the root, the foundation, the secret underlying every genuine transformation. You aren't a victim. You're not powerless. You are the operant power, the first cause. And the instant you remember this, reality bends to obey, because consciousness isn't a fragment of reality, it is reality itself. What you're currently seeing is simply a mirror. Your current situation isn't fixed. It's merely a projection of assumptions you held in the past. Everything you encounter in the physical world is the outward form your inner conversations, beliefs, and assumptions have taken. It's never the cause, always the effect. The world surrounding you isn't revealing reality to you, it's revealing yourself to you. Your thoughts, whether intentional or habitual, take shape and clothe themselves in the people, events, and outcomes you experience. You never see the world as it objectively is. You see the world as you are. To call the outer world a shadow is to grasp that it holds no power of its own. Just as a shadow can't exist without an object casting it, your physical experience can't exist without the inner state that animates it. This isn't metaphorical language, it's law. Everything originates within. Your mind functions as the projector, your assumptions serve as the film, and your life plays out as the screen. You're not at the mercy of the screen. You're the one holding the script. Yet most people try to reshape their world by attacking the screen itself, never realizing their own imagination is the source generating every scene unfolding before them. Take a look at your life today, your relationships, finances, health, opportunities. Each of these is a snapshot capturing your internal landscape. None of it is accidental. None of it determined by other people. They're the visible results of inner states you've sustained over time. And that's genuinely good news, because if you generated it, you can just as easily regenerate it. You aren't stuck, you're simply watching the echo of who you used to be. The moment you accept a new assumption as true within yourself, you set into motion the change that will eventually show up externally. But understand, there's a delay separating cause from effect. Just as a seed doesn't bloom the instant it's planted, your new assumptions need time before they crystallize into visible experience. And during that stretch of time, temptation whispers to look around and declare, "Nothing's happening." That's the fatal mistake, because every time you treat the outer world as final proof, you're reinforcing the old state instead. You have to persist in the unseen. Hold the new state with unshakable faith, trusting that the world isn't refusing you. It's simply echoing something you once believed in the past. Stay loyal to your new belief, and the echo has to change. The shadow must follow wherever the light goes. There's nothing external to fight against. People aren't your enemies. Circumstances aren't obstacles blocking you. They're actors on a stage, reciting lines you unknowingly wrote for them. And the moment you quietly, deliberately write a new script within yourself, they start reciting different lines. Their behavior changes. Events shift course. Doors swing open. Why does this happen? Because they were never the actual cause. They were only ever the mirror. Once you truly grasp this, you stop reacting in fear to your current circumstances. You recognize them as already old, already dissolving. You stop arguing with what currently is, and start cultivating what's coming instead, by dwelling steadily in the state of your desired outcome. This is the true nature of power, not manipulating the shadow, but turning inward and altering the light source. Occupying your inner world so vividly, so faithfully, that the outer world has no option but to follow suit. The world isn't holding you back. It's simply revealing back to you whatever you've been assuming, feeling, and believing. And that means the instant you assume something new, the world starts to move in response. Let your current reality say whatever it wants. It no longer has the power to define you. It's merely the past still in motion. And the future already belongs to you, the second you claim it within. So turn away now from the shadow and face the source instead. Because the outer world was never your master. It's your servant. And it will always follow wherever you lead it. Watch as the world begins echoing your new inner reality back to you through subtle confirmations. When you notice this happening, your breakthrough is close at hand. The instant you shift inward, when you truly transform your consciousness, something changes. At first it may be invisible, quiet and subtle, but the shift is genuinely real. The outer world may not visibly move right away, but you'll start feeling it. And soon enough, the signs begin appearing. Here's the real secret, though. A sign isn't a predictor, isn't a warning, isn't some kind of test. It's an echo. Signs don't cause change. They follow it. They show up only after the internal shift has already occurred. They serve as evidence that the new state you've entered is beginning to press against the boundaries of the physical world. They're proof your assumption has taken root. You might notice repeating numbers, catch a phrase mirroring your new desire, cross paths with someone reflecting the energy you've been living in imagination, or simply feel an unshakable calm, a deep knowing that something has already occurred. That's the sign. The world is always responding to you, never the reverse. You don't wait for signs before you believe. You believe first, and the signs follow. And when they do show up, recognize them, not with desperate grasping, but with genuine peace, because their presence means the new state is already in motion. The unseen machinery is shifting behind the scenes. People are being repositioned. Events are being arranged. Circumstances are aligning, not through effort, but through law. Grasp this deeply. You aren't chasing signs, you're generating them. A sign is never separate from you. It's not something the universe dispatches once you're deemed ready. It's simply the reflection of your own inner readiness. Once you accept something as true within your inner world, once you dwell inside the feeling of it, live inside the knowing of it, the outer world begins to bend. And that very first bend is the sign. Perhaps you've had this experience. You shifted your thinking, your feeling, and suddenly the exact right message appeared in your feed. A stranger voiced something you'd just been thinking. A door cracked open where before there was nothing but a solid wall. That wasn't coincidence. That was confirmation. And the more faithfully you remain in that new state, the more you refuse to slip back into old doubts or overanalysis, the more signs begin appearing, faster and stronger. They multiply because you're multiplying within consciousness. The shadow thickens because the light behind it is growing. But be careful not to misread the signs. Don't use them as fuel for doubt or interrogation. They aren't meant to be cross-examined. They exist to reassure you. The moment you ask, is this actually a sign or not? You've stepped out of faith and into analysis. And the instant you doubt a sign, you step away from the very state that produced it in the first place. Stay still, stay confident. The sign itself isn't the desired thing, it's the announcement of it, the whisper of what's coming. Don't confuse the knock at the door with the gift itself. The gift is already on its way. Walk by faith instead of by sight, and you stop demanding proof altogether. And that's precisely when proof shows up in abundance. If you're reading this message right now, that itself is a sign. Not because of me, not because of these particular words, but because something inside you has already shifted, and now the world is echoing back exactly what you've claimed within. You don't have to force it into being. You don't have to figure out the mechanism. That's simply not your job. Your only task is remaining faithful to the unseen reality, trusting the new state, persisting in it without wavering. And once you do, the signs will arrive, one at a time, then all at once. Confirmations, whispers, gentle nudges, until one day the breakthrough stands fully formed right in front of you. Even then, it will feel entirely natural, because you saw it first within. So when a sign shows up, smile. Don't chase after it. Don't interrogate it. Once you settle into the state of the wish fulfilled, life assembles a perfect chain of events to deliver your desire. You don't need to muscle your dream into existence. No begging, no hustling, no pushing against the world required. Your only task is simple. Assume the end, live in the end, feel from the end. Everything else takes care of itself. There's a power far greater than effort, and it lives inside assumption. The instant you dwell in the feeling that your desire is already fulfilled, the universe begins to move, not chaotically, not randomly, but with something like divine precision. A sequence of events starts unfolding, each perfectly timed, each essential, each engineered, to lead you directly to the thing you've already claimed within. This chain of events carries a name, the bridge of incidents. It's the invisible pathway linking the invisible assumption to the visible manifestation. Most people can't see this bridge as it takes shape because it rarely resembles what the mind expects. Sometimes it arrives through a chance encounter, a delay, an unexpected conversation, even what looks like a setback. But none of it is accidental. Every moment you persist in the inner reality of the wish fulfilled, this bridge keeps building itself beneath your feet. You're not the one constructing the bridge. You're the one already living at the end of it. Your job is simply to live from the result, and the bridge builds itself accordingly. You don't need to know how it works. The mechanics aren't your burden to carry. The path reveals itself through what looks like ordinary life. And by the time you reach the fulfillment of your desire, you'll recognize that everything that happened was perfectly orchestrated all along. This is why living in the end isn't merely a technique, it's a form of surrender, a profound trust in the law of consciousness. The moment you assume the feeling of your desire already fulfilled, you stop interfering. You let the wisdom already inside you do its work. You move through each moment with quiet confidence, understanding that even the detours belong to the plan. Yet many people fall short because they look around and see nothing changing. They ask, "Where is it? Why hasn't it arrived?" And in doing so, they abandon the end and slide back to the beginning. They interrupt the bridge mid-construction. The key is persistence, holding on to the vision no matter what currently appears, trusting the invisible thread already pulling you toward it. Living in the end doesn't mean pretending, it means feeling from the place where it's already so. You start thinking, acting, speaking, and expecting like the version of you who has already received. You let go of timelines, you stop watching the clock, because you're already there in consciousness. And wherever consciousness travels, the body eventually has to follow. The bridge may deliver challenges, surprises, or circumstances you wouldn't have chosen consciously, but every bit of it leads you exactly where you've already gone in spirit. Picture yourself standing inside your dream life. Close your eyes and let it feel completely real. Breathe from that place, speak from it, give thanks for it, not as something still arriving, but as something already here. That's the whole secret. That's the actual cause. And now that you're already there internally, life has to catch up. The phone call will come. The right person will cross your path. The door that's been sealed for years will finally open. Not because you chased it down, but because you claimed it. You are the cause, the operant power at work here. The instant you moved in imagination, the bridge began forming. So don't sit around wondering if it's working. It's already working. Don't go searching for signs. You are the sign. Remain at the end. Live from it. And walk forward boldly, even when the steps ahead aren't clear. Because if you dare to remain faithful to the unseen end, the visible world will deliver it through a path so precisely orchestrated, you'll wonder how you ever doubted in the first place. The bridge is real, and you're already walking across it. The moment you feel yourself become the version of you who has the breakthrough, the world has no choice but to obey. Creation was never about pursuit. It isn't about magnetically attracting some distant outcome with your thoughts. You aren't pulling in something external, you're waking up something already internal. You don't attract love, success, wealth, health, or happiness. You become it. You embody it. And then, by law, the world reflects it right back. Everything starts with identity. You can't experience something you aren't conscious of being. The outer world only ever mirrors back what you've dared to claim within. Wait for proof before believing, and you're living the whole process backward. The law doesn't respond to wanting or hoping. It responds to being. So the real question isn't, how do I attract what I desire? It's, who am I being right now? Shift your concept of self, and the world rearranges itself accordingly. If you want to experience a breakthrough, first assume the identity of the version of you who already has it. Speak the way that version speaks. Think the way they think. Feel what they'd feel. Not eventually, not someday, now. This isn't pretending. It isn't fantasizing. It's a deliberate assumption sustained long enough that the world recognizes it as law. You aren't separate from what you desire. The very fact you can imagine it proves it already exists somewhere within you. And the only reason it hasn't yet appeared in your world is because you haven't fully accepted it as your reality yet. Become it emotionally, claim it in imagination, and remain in that identity until the world has no choice but to conform. There's no need to manipulate anything outside yourself, no one to convince, no external conditions to fix. The world is only ever showing you yourself. If you're experiencing delay or resistance, it's not because the world is withholding something from you. It's because you haven't fully stepped into the version of yourself that naturally experiences that outcome. Every desire carries within it a version of you already living in its fulfillment. You don't obtain the desire by striving toward it. You obtain it by shifting into alignment with it. Align with that version, and everything begins moving. The people you need, the opportunities, the perfect timing, the resources, all of it orbits around who you are in consciousness. Not who you're trying to become, not who you used to be, but who you accept yourself to be right now. Become the person who already has the breakthrough. Walk the way they walk, talk the way they talk, think their thoughts, adopt their posture, their tone, their peace. And you'll notice something remarkable. The world stops feeling heavy. You're no longer chasing anything. You're simply receiving what you already are. This is the secret separating effort from embodiment. Once you stop chasing and start being, the breakthrough arrives not as a shock, but as a natural consequence. Don't wait until you feel worthy. Don't wait until you feel ready. Don't wait for the world to confirm what your inner world already knows to be true. Make the internal shift, and the external must reflect it back. You aren't an attractor, you're a creator. And you create not through force, but through identity. So ask yourself right now, who am I being in this moment? If the answer is someone waiting, doubting, hoping, shift. Step into the version of you who has already received, and don't step back out of it, regardless of what the world currently shows you. Because once you become the one who already has the breakthrough, life has no choice but to obey. Circumstances bend, paths appear, and what once seemed impossibly far away shows up with effortless grace. You don't need to attract it, you only need to become it. And once you do, everything else follows on its own. The very fact you're hearing these words, reading this message, or sensing a shift happening within you means your manifestation is already arriving. Awareness itself is the proof. So many people wait around for evidence. They plead for signs, beg for confirmation, and scan the horizon for some external indicator that what they desire is actually coming. But the truth runs deeper and is far simpler than that. The sign you're searching for isn't out there, it's inside you. Your very awareness of a message, a moment, a shift in your inner state, that awareness itself is the sign. The fact that a certain desire, a particular word, or a specific synchronicity has entered your consciousness isn't random. It's an echo of a change already unfolding within you. Nothing in your reality occurs without meaning, and nothing enters your awareness until your consciousness has become a match for it. So if you're hearing these words right now, sensing that something's near, or feeling stirred without quite knowing why, trust it. You wouldn't even be aware of this message unless something inside you had already aligned with it. Your awareness is the proof. It's the whisper confirming that what you desire is already set into motion. You don't need writing across the sky. You don't need everything to make logical sense just yet. You only need to honor the shift already happening within you. That sudden clarity, that inner pull, that calm assurance seeming to arrive from nowhere. None of it is coincidental. These are confirmations. They're the footprints of your manifestation, making its way toward you. Often, before something manifests, you feel it before you see it. You know it before it arrives. You may not understand how, but you simply know. That knowing is the bridge connecting imagination to reality, and it starts with awareness. You may notice yourself repeatedly drawn to the same message. A phrase keeps echoing back to you. Someone you haven't spoken with in years brings up something that lines up perfectly with what you've been silently picturing. This isn't randomness, it's resonance. What you dwell on internally begins showing up externally, not just as final results, but as signs along the way to those results. These signs don't forecast the future. They announce what's already begun. So don't ask, is this really a sign? Instead, declare, I recognize this because it belongs to me. The outer world isn't showing you what to want. It's showing you what you've already accepted. You notice the sign because you're already in possession of that state. That's exactly why it caught your attention. Others might scroll right past the same message and feel absolutely nothing, but you felt something.